On Friday, March 16th, a caravan of students, teachers, and activists calling themselves Librotraficantes, or book traffickers, rolled into Tucson, Arizona, bringing boxes of smuggled books that had been prohibited in the classrooms of Tucson Unified School District following the controversial suspension of its Mexican American Studies program. The caravan traveled more than 1,000 miles over the span of 5 days after departing from Houston, Texas, with additional caravans arriving from other locations like Los Angeles. On Saturday, lead Librotraficante organizer Tony Diaz and others staged a literary teach-in at the John Valenzuela Youth Center in South Tucson, where they also established one of several new underground libraries where the banned books will be available to community members.
Of course, Arizona has become expert at making our people illegal. Now they've turned their sights on our art, literature, and culture. Those anti-immigrant laws spread to Alabama, Georgia, and other states. I have no doubt that if we tolerate this law, it too will spread. I also warn other Americans that if there is a pattern, a template here to get rid of Mexican American studies, they won't have to institute Asian studies. And then at some point they'll go after African American studies as well. If we rest for one moment, if we let our democracy get taken over, things like book bans happen. Courses are prohibited, and we can't tolerate that. I think at the end of the day, we should have been extolling the cutting-edge curriculum that was being instituted in Tucson Unified School District.
Curtis Acosta used to teach Chicano literature at Tucson High before the Mexican American Studies program was disbanded. He says the Librotraficantes event helps to further publicize the void created in Tucson classrooms, which he says has already had an enormous impact on student engagement and quality of education.
My students and myself, we're all heartbroken and despondent about the fact that, such an engaging academic space, an engaging curriculum and pedagogy. I mean, everything was firing. It was college prep. It was rigorous. It was loving. It invoked issues of peace, but it also, really challenged my students as far as their critical thought and their skills for college. So when that got ripped from us and in midstream, and now I get it replaced with material that I'm not even familiar with yet, you see a drastic drop in not only engagement by my students, but actual my own preparation and my own ability to be an instructor. We've gone from a college prep curriculum and experience to a remedial one. And it's just absolute tragedy. And how anyone, any educators or lawmakers think that's the benefit of our society is ludicrous.
TUSD Board President Mark Stegeman maintains that the books that were physically removed from classrooms have not been banned, but instead are just some of the many books that are regularly not approved for instruction.
Any district approves certain books for use in curriculum. That might be a couple of hundred books, and it would be silly to call all the millions of books that are not on that list of 200 or 300 books banned books. So these books are off of that list, and so they're out of the classrooms. But they are still in the school libraries, and if the libraries don't have them, then we'll take the ones out of the repositories and put them in the libraries.
A number of students who were enrolled in the Mexican American Studies courses at the time they were prohibited attended the Librotraficantes events. In spite of the school board's insistence that the books have not been banned, some Tucson students like Asia Mir feel that a critical learning resource has been lost with the removal of the text from their former Mexican American Studies classrooms.
I felt disbelief because that's the kind of thing that happens in a dictatorship. That's what happens under fascist regimes. The books are taken away from the people to prevent them from feeling this independent spirit, and I felt like that's what was taken away from us as soon as our books were taken away. And although they aren't officially banned in Arizona, they're still available to students in libraries. It's just our teachers can't teach them to students in the Mexican American Studies classes, which I think makes it all the more ridiculous than an official ban. It's just we're specifically targeted. We can't read these books. Our teachers can't teach them, and they definitely can't teach them the way they used to be able to teach them. The fact that they were taken away from us, I think, is a reflection of our school district's incompetence and just lack of respect.
The Librotraficantes caravan exemplifies some of the ways that Tucson, Arizona's student-led civil rights struggle has captured the imaginations of distant communities also seeking to defend the history and knowledge contained within the pages of books like those now banned in Tucson classrooms. This is David Doherty with the Real News Network.